going to move on now to Antwanye Ford and Anika Hobbs. We want to welcome you both back to WIN TV. Antwanye, how are you? So we can't hear you, so we need a little, we need to unmute you.
I am unmuted, I think. I'm doing fine. How about yourself?
Doing great, doing great. And Anika, welcome again to you too, to
Thank you
WIN
so much
TV. Yeah. So I want to start, Antwanye, with you because, you know, I don't think we can tell folks enough about the Greater Washington Black Chamber. And just, you know, why the organization exists and why people should join. I mean, that's the bottom line. Why should a business be a part of the Greater Washington Black Chamber?
Oh, yeah. That's an awesome question. Again, sitting on the national board. So I sit on the U.S. Black Chambers board as the vice chair. And we looked at chambers around the country. Right now, we have 150 chambers around the country serving 330,000 Black-owned businesses. But we didn't have one in D.C. And we realized that although the D.C. Chamber of Commerce, as a former chair, did a wonderful job, we did not have folks focus on issues that Black businesses themselves care about. You know, access to capital, access to training, access to opportunities specifically. And what I noticed was we did not have what I consider to be large Black-owned businesses enjoying this revitalization of Washington, D.C. as we saw it. And so I encourage people to join the chamber, quite honestly, because we have a common voice. We come together, work on common issues. We bring opportunities and educate them and things that they deal with, that we deal with as a Black community. We have now a voice together that we can be able to say collectively, we can go to the Hill, we can go to the Wilson Building, we can go to the our folks on council and say, these are the things that Black businesses care about, while being able to educate our Black businesses and provide information to them. And I'm excited about having this because the same thing I saw in other cities, I didn't have in my own city. And I was like, Denise, I got to do something about this.
And you know, I think it's interesting that the Greater Washington Black Chamber has partnered with AARP.
Yes.
Tell me about that relationship and that connection.
Well, I'm excited about that because at the end of the day, one of the things that I think what AAR brings to the table is most of the folks who know in the city are above 50. The folks that have the knowledge, the folks that have the information. Yes, at this point. And we have so much knowledge with folks and being able to share that information about folks who may be doing okay, they may be doing pretty well. And we say, hey guys, we want that wisdom, myself being one of them. And I think AARP does a wonderful job of getting that information, although they have a national presence. They're located in Washington, D.C., and they care about the city so much that they're in. And I think that's amazing to be able to say, we need to get to the whole of community. I love my youth, and I want folks that are in the mature years to be able to bring those folks together.
Tell me, Antwanye, I mean, and I'm going to get to you too, Anika, because I mean, you will help to color in the outline that Antwanye is sharing. But, you know, you didn't mention in going through that list about COVID and how that's affected businesses. But just generally speaking, what is the state of Black businesses, particularly in the Greater Washington area?
You know, Denise, that's a really good question. I think we're facing this sort of two polar opposites. We heard through the census that the Black community is being moved out of the city. I mean, our population is lower than it has been in decades. So we're moving out of the city, while at the same time, there's availability of so much more money. It's EIDL, PPP, so many funds that are being stood up. And so we see businesses coming up now. The younger businesses are taking advantage of it. So I'm seeing this movement of younger businesses being able to grow and incubators coming up along those lines. But I also see a decrease in the people that actually live here. And so we want people to say, stop leaving the District of Columbia, stay back, because this is a great opportunity because there's funds being stood up specifically for Black-owned businesses. So I think we have a great opportunity now for businesses to be able to grow, like Anika, to continue to have her spread to go, you know, international as she probably already is. But I need other people to see what's happening, particularly, and I'm going to be biased in Ward 5, 7, and 8, right? Because I'm seeing growth in there, and I need people to stay and stop leaving.
You know, I think that's a good point, particularly, again, with AARP's involvement. And as a former state president, you know, our membership in the district are in neighborhoods. I mean, they're in and one of the biggest chapters, I'm not sure if it's still the case, is over in Ward 7. Which had well over 100 and some odd members. And when you talk about neighborhoods, you're talking about a lot of small and Black-owned businesses that are in neighborhoods. We're not downtown. You know, we're like Anika on Good Hope Road. And so, you know, I love your store. I think it's a beautiful store, beautiful location. But how is it that you decided to open up on Good Hope Road?
You know, it's an interesting story. You know, just like a lot of businesses wanted to be on Front Street, wherever there was super high traffic. But one of the things that I always knew is that I wanted to be in a community that looked like me. And so, you know, just going around the district and seeing what was affordable, one of my mentors had suggested the Anacostia Art Center, which I had been there before. It's kind of full circle. I had been there as one of my first vending opportunities as soon as I left my job in 2012. And then about a year later, when she said to check out the Anacostia Art Center, I was like, this is perfect. You know, it was turnkey, it was affordable. And like I said, it was in a community that looked like me. So it's interesting. My lease was for 6 months, and I thought, okay, I'll just be here for 6 months, set up shop, and then I'll probably look somewhere else. But that was in 2013. So as of September 14th, I've made 8 years since we've been in Anacostia, and I have to say I would not have chosen anything better but to be there on Good Hope Road. So.
You know, I have to ask because Antwanye's coming to the neighborhood, I should say, not the hood, but coming to the neighborhood soon as well. Now, I don't know who encouraged who to come, but I definitely want to officially welcome you, Antwanye, and we will want to follow up on the story of that beautiful building that's being constructed, almost completed on the corner of Good Hope and Martin Luther King Avenue. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, no, I'm excited about it. And so Anika is part of my welcoming committee here. And so Bowman Ketty and I partnered and created this partnership to really look at how can we make sure that we are moving to the community where people are. So it's easier for jobs, right? At the end of the day. So they don't have to commute across. And we said, what more creative opportunity if you move a technology firm that does international work in the defense sector to move to an area that normally you don't even think about those concepts. And so we thought had an opportunity to work with the District of Columbia, to partner with them, and really got great support from the mayor and DEMPED and the rest of the organization to create not just myself, we're the anchor tenant, but you'll have Capital One Bank there. You'll have AmeriHealth will be a part of. We'll have new restaurants to be on the corner of Good Hope Road and Martin Luther King Avenue as the MLK Gateway. We'll be doing, you know, I chair the WIC, so obviously we're going to be doing workforce development training. I hope to launch a great entrepreneurship program, but not just your typical incubator. We hope to get folks funded. We want to bring subcontracting opportunities, and we want to create more businesses in launching that community. So I need other people to look at, they can do what Anika can do and be there for 8 years, because we need examples of what people are doing.
Thank you. And I want to go back to Anika and talk about that transition from a full-time job to opening up a business, and a business that, you know, is very unique. So I'd like to know kind of where your head was and how you made that transition and how you selected. I mean, tell us a little bit more about Nubian Heuman, but how you selected that, the title even, the name of the business. I think that's such a great story.
Yeah, so Nubian Heuman, basically we say it's an ecosystem of independent artists and creatives from all over the world, partnered with conscious consumers fueled by pride and purpose. So we focus on Black-owned and Brown-owned brands exclusively. We have been that way ever since we started. My background is actually in environmental design, which is basically interior architecture. But I started working for H&M when they were very new to the U.S. For those who don't know, it's a fast fashion retailer. And I grew with the company very quickly. So I started as a sales associate and I left as a district manager, having DC, Virginia, Maryland stores, upstate New York, and New England. And what I found was that, you know, as much as I had grown with the company and learned so much about expansion and growth, I just felt like every day I was kind of coming into doors and I wasn't connected to what I was selling. You know, and in my travels, I opened their first store in China. I opened hundreds of stores all over the US and Canada for them. And with all the artists that I was coming in contact with, there was just no space where we could find Black-owned or brown-owned art and goods just on a daily basis. So the same way I can go into H&M and get a shirt, a white shirt or a black skirt, I wanted a space where we could see things that looked like us, by us on a daily basis. And so opening the store was not hard because, I had grown with the company and I learned what expansion was. It was kind of like I was in college, like a 11-year college with them, just learning all the nuances of retail. But what is very hard is staying open. That is the biggest challenge, staying relevant, and finding new artists. And, we have our own challenges because we work with brands that don't have the same funding as some of our counterparts. Wholesale pricing is a little bit more expensive. Supply chain is a little bit more difficult. So just as much as anybody would like to say that we're a regular boutique, we are, but we do have different challenges that a lot of other businesses don't have because we're very, very mission-based on holding up those Black-owned and brown brands.
I've gotten some great items. I have to come down and visit because I told you it's that diary that I like that you sell down there as well. I mean, that's a personal. Sorry, I had to go into that. But yeah, I mean, also Anika and Antwanye. I mean, this past 18 months has been tough on small businesses. Anika, can you talk about any ways that you either had to pivot, because of the pandemic?
Oh yeah. About, I would say before the pandemic, we were about 50% international brands. So we work with a lot of brands on the African continent. And because of COVID, the supply chain was completely broken. And of course, we know we had shipping issues in 2020. So that made it very difficult to import those special products that we were able to get in. So that made it, a little bit difficult. The great thing has been that, like Antwanye said, a lot of small Black businesses have been able to grow nationally. So we were able to take on some newer brands, which I can show you a little bit later. But we definitely had to pivot in that way. We were also, I'm brick and mortar based because that's, what I my career in. And then all of a sudden, when no one was allowed to go anywhere, I had to really pivot my business to digital. So making sure that we had a robust website, SEO, digital marketing, all of those things that I didn't really care for and didn't really need. I found that we could thrive just by having our doors open. But we definitely had to make that turn and that pivot. So I think there's definitely been, and then just how we engage our customers and keep them engaged with us has definitely changed as well.
Was there anything that's happened over the last 18 months or because of COVID that was like an aha moment for you, that to say, wow, I didn't think about this, but this works?
Yeah, we've introduced some different type of programs. So we have it's like an Amazon locker type of system in our store. So we literally have a locker in our store where brands that aren't necessarily sold in our space and who don't have brick and mortars, they can have their customers come pick their product up in our store.
Wow.
So in that way, we've been able to help some brands and then also bring some traffic to our store location. And I think just the way digitally in which we engage our customer, how we've been able to ramp up our email marketing and SMS. We never thought about texting our customers. And so that has definitely helped us as well. And then just getting creative with how we can continue to let them know of what we're doing and support Black-owned and brown-owned brands in the process as well. So yeah, I mean, things are definitely different. It's all been a huge pivot. If you haven't pivoted during this transition, this period, I don't know how you're going to make it.
Interesting. Yeah, Antwanye, I mean, is this reflective of a lot of the businesses that the greater Washington Black Chambers has experienced, its members? What are you hearing from them?
Yeah, it's same thing. I think those that pivoted well have now opened up new opportunities they would not have thought of. Those that did not pivot and got stubborn got in trouble. And so, we had to do a good job in terms of those that were ready for PPP, help these guys. And we did a big education job to say, hey guys, we want to make sure you're doing that because we need to help them get their books together. We are trying to open up new opportunities. For example, like Pepco now, which we'll have an event with that. Pepco is saying, Antwanye, we need to reach Black CBEs in the District of Columbia. Help us get to those types of entities. And so I think new partnerships are evolving and have evolved such that to meet the demand. And I think what really created the demand, not only was it equity, but was also as the workforce changed to say, some people quite challengingly said, I don't want to come back to work. I don't feel safe. And so you had to be more creative about your workforce. You had to change your policies and procedures to let people work from home more. And so I think we're still in the midst of that, quite candidly, and to be able to help people think through new processes and procedures and ways to measure yourself when your workforce is at home. And so we're still in the midst of this creative process.
You talked about Pepco wanting you to reach more CBEs. Tell us about, for those who don't know what a CBE is, and what that relationship is. I know I don't want to get too far off point, but since you mentioned CBEs and opportunities for them, how does the chamber work with them as well?
Yeah, it's really important. AARP has also been a great partner with saying, hey, help us get to certified business enterprises, which are in the District of Columbia as a certified business enterprise they've shown they're doing business in the District of Columbia. They're located in the District of Columbia. In some cases, you get points for being here for 20 years, right? And so they want folks that are certified so they can get credit for it, but they want people also that can do the work, and they will be able to provide opportunities to them to grow. And so Pepco's been very aggressive with it. They've come to us. AARP has said, hey, help us find these types of businesses, which is the value proposition that I think we saw in other cities that now DC is starting to realize that we have a lot of businesses, but they weren't collectively in one place, right? So our job is to create this concept of bringing them together and make it easier to do business with Black-owned businesses. And quite candidly, we do this around the country. Let's eliminate the excuse that you can't find a Black-owned business. We got hundreds of them, which is why it's so important to get them to come to the Greater Washington Black Chamber of Commerce. And, we have an awesome chair in Corey Griffin, who's been able to really lead this organization forward. But we need our members to say, hey, guys, when you come to us, I want to make sure we have enough members when they offer businesses, we can get them of all types, shapes, and sizes.
Well, I know there's always been a lot of controversy around the CBE program.
Yes.
And as a CBE for several years, I mean, it's funny. Some of our businesses are so old that we forget what CBE stands for as well. I mean, we've been around 58 years and still, we became one, and we know the challenges, that companies face and the CBEs themselves of getting opportunities. And so it's a great thing that the chamber is going to support that. And so is there something a business needs to do in order, if there's a business owner out there? I mean, of course, it would be good to join the chamber. I definitely want to support that, and AARP, because I'm a member of that as well. But I mean, what would have to happen, or what is it that you will be doing to support these CBEs?
Yeah, once they join the chamber, our whole goal is we'll reach out to them, make sure we understand where their skills are, where their capacity and capabilities are, and then basically our job is to get them in front of the right person who has opportunities. And it's across the board, right? So from fashion, I got to mention that one, to construction, to technology, across the board, because they need all types. And indeed, as these individuals grow, we have opportunities with Fortune 500 companies because they're also a member of the U.S. Black Chamber when they're a member locally. And so I'm working with the Fortune 500 companies that want businesses that can scale across a region and across the country.
One thing I don't know if everybody understands when it comes to the value, as I said, of Black-owned businesses that are located in communities or in neighborhoods, because, and I've heard you talk about it, Antwanye, is the fact that we are employers of people in our communities. And Anika, can we talk about that as it relates to Nubian Heuman and what your experience has been like, at least working with members of the or residents of the Ward 8 community to support Nubian Heuman?
Yeah, I mean, we, one of our big focuses is to pay above the living wage, which is very important. I think a lot of people think when they come to lower income communities that's an opportunity to pay as little as they can. But for communities that look like me, it's important for our team members to have above a living wage to work with us. So we've really focused on that. I think also having someone, you cannot be a business for the community and not be in the community or hire the community. I think that's very, very important. We have one team member who's basically been like almost like a second owner to us, Jay Sun. He's a Ward 8 resident. He's been with us for the past, I want to say, 60 years, and basically has like protected our business, has allowed inroads for Anacostia. And I think it's just very important to have, if you want to have that community base, you got to have somebody who understands that. I'm not originally from the DC area. I'm originally from Boston. So having team members like that has definitely helped me to navigate DC. It's the same thing in Baltimore as well. We really try to focus with people who live in those communities, team members, because we find that it's just helpful to have somebody who looks and talks like you know. And one of the things that we also think about when we think about gentrification is that it doesn't always look like us, right? But we can come into the communities and do the same things that gentrifiers do. So for me, coming into neighborhoods where I'm not from, I thought it was really important to have those who are in the community to live and work in there.
Well, the other concept that I don't think people always understand is that, sometimes we want to be places, we're worried about competition, and we find sometimes some businesses help to draw more customers to your business if you're kind of in there together, which is what I think the Anacostia Art Center does. So I'm going to allow you, Anika, opportunity to give a shout out to your Anacostia Art Center neighbors who are in there, and they're not competitors. I want to know how you all work together to make that whole process a success.
Yeah, so it's really cool. It's a really awesome space if anyone hasn't been there before. It's an oasis of like Black excellence, I like to say, because we have Vintage and Charmed, which is right next door to us. We actually opened exactly the same day in 2013. So she has vintage clothing there, Lynette does. We have Mahogany Books, which came about 2.5 years ago. They just opened their second store in National Harbor. So congratulations to them, which focuses on all Black-owned authors. It's an amazing space. We have the Fresh Food Factory, which is across the hall from us, which is owned by Amanda Stevenson. So as you know, Ward 8 is somewhat of a food desert. So she has kind of like a health food grocer with really great foods that are good for us. We have eLife, which is also Everlasting Life down the hall. And we have Kirakoki, which is chiropractic by Dr. Kita. So you can get healthy, you can eat healthy, you can read, feed your brain, and look fashionable all at the same time in one place. And it's all Black owned. So there's so much power in that, just us being together. And we support each other by promoting each other. We've done events together. We've, looked at some ventures that we can do. I think as a community, we definitely hold each other up, and you need that.
Antwanye, is that a model? I mean, is that something that you see is really a concept that we need to be doing more of? And I want to go back to Oklahoma and Black Wall Street, right? And how, having a community of not only residents, but businesses that the residents could support, and having little spaces like that within our own community. Talk about that and why you think that's important.
I absolutely love it because it serves as an example of what's possible. And I think so many of us need to have this example because I was speaking earlier this week. Sometimes we suffer, as the Bible says, because of a lack of knowledge, right? We don't understand that we can do a thing. So if you take that Good Hope Road and then we turn around and go up now MLK, and I'm seeing the Black-owned business of MLK, we're creating this DC Wall Street. And she just talked about, now you turn the right-hand corner and going up MLK, I'm seeing Black-owned businesses pop up all the way around this. And I think it serves as an awesome example for returning citizens, a great example for folks of what's possible, and an awesome example for the younger folks. Like, I never thought about what it could be. It could be an entrepreneur, right? And they walk into, all the companies that Anika just talked about, and they can sit around and look at like, wow, I've never seen this or imagined this. And now it's been manifested. And I think that's a great example. They have another one in Atlanta and in Georgia, this whole community that's been there for 20 years. And I'm like, we need more of this to show what we can do. That we can do ourselves.
Yeah, as a newspaper, I mean, that's one of the things we realized when our reporter Sam Collins went out to talk about a neighborhood that's really been devastated by gun violence. And the fact that people just blocks away don't know or recognize the oasis that's right around the corner from them means that I take that on as a responsibility, need to help to do a better job to let the community know that when we talk, as Anika, as you said, gentrification, it doesn't always mean racial gentrification. We're bringing businesses and opportunities to our community. I don't know if you all want to respond to that, but or have any thoughts about that.
Well, it's funny that when I first moved over, shortly I'll say, they were like, "You just moving in to take advantage of the community." That was the first comment I got, and they didn't know until I told them, "Wait a minute, I was born in DC in Carver Terrace." Because they thought I was just a developer moving in. I wasn't a business owner. I was developing and leaving. But I had to tell them, Anika, no, I'm staying. I'm moving from Connecticut L to MLK and Good Hope Road. Right? I'm moving. So that was my example.
Wow. I think those stories need to be told, and I'm glad that you all are here to tell it. Anika, what's new for Nubian Heuman? What's coming down the road?
Yeah, so for us, we're really looking forward to quarter four. That's the Super Bowl of quarters for retail businesses. So we're definitely looking towards that. We are launching our Kwanzaa kit, which is super exciting. We had that last year, which is kind of like our beta testing. And then this year, we're going full speed with it. So anybody that's looking to celebrate Kwanzaa, we have the whole kit for you. So it's launching in October. We're continuing to bring on some new brands, which I can show you some of the stuff that we do have here. We're just looking to continue to expand. Also, we're looking into real estate as well. I think one of the most important things that we learned during COVID is it's great to rent a space, but owning your space is definitely changing the game. And that also lends to Tulsa as well. You've got to own the building that you're in. So we're looking at real estate opportunities throughout the district as well as Baltimore, and taking advantage of some of those opportunities, grant opportunities that support in funding real estate acquisition. So.
Yeah, it's interesting because that was one of the big stories when there was a loss of businesses along like the 14th Street corridor and the 8th Street corridor here in DC. It's good that those corridors are coming back, but when they were a lot of Black-owned businesses there, we realized they didn't own the real estate.
Right.
And so as landlords came in and decided they wanted to increase prices, it priced out those businesses. So I think that's a really, really good point. We got a few minutes left, Anika. Do you want to share a couple of your items with us really quick?
Yeah, so just to get an idea of the things that we do sell. So we really focus on Black-owned brands. Our focus is, items that reflect our traditions through, the pattern, the prints, the ingredients, and things like that. So some of the things that we have, these are, if you can see them, they're Adinkra cards, they're spiritual cards. This woman is Ghanaian. And basically, you can use them for spiritual guidance. It comes with a beautiful booklet that explains what all of the symbols are. Sorry, trying to get my camera right there and straight. But that's some of the product. We do focus on spirituality. So we do, gemstones and things like that, space clear, home clearing things. So for clothing and fashion, one of the brands that we've had for probably since 2014 is Dope Society. So this is one of the
cool.
there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's a mask there with Fulani earrings. That's one of my favorite brands. Always really great creative work. One of the newer brands that we just recently brought on, which is located in Virginia, is Best Life Organics. This peach ginger right here is amazing. It's a body butter, but it also comes in a body wash. There's also various scents. It's been wonderful to bring this brand on. It's already a winning brand, which we love to find. And then we also have Boho Gal, which is actually, I'm in New Georgia right now, so they're based in Atlanta. Their artists make everything in India. So, for example, my earrings, we actually have them in store right now, which are gorgeous. She also has bracelets, which are beautiful brass bracelets. I'm trying to turn properly.
No, you're doing good. You're doing good.
This love bracelet here, also this cowrie shell bracelet as well. So just goods that really, really reflect us and make us feel proud. You want to feel proud when you walk out those doors and know that the items that you have meaning and intention. And so we really focus on having an entire store that sells men's, ladies, kids, home, and beauty, really focusing on all of those points in our mission and our values.
It's great to have the two of you all here together to talk about a specific business that sort of pays it forward and, you know, supports a lot of other Black-owned businesses, and Antwanye representing an organization that provides opportunities. And before you go, I'd love to know about some of the resources that the Chamber, Greater Washington Black Chamber, offers, and locally and federally. I mean, what do you all have that we can take advantage of?
Yeah, no, I'm really glad you asked that question. One of the things that we were looking at, we mentioned earlier, we are working with almost all of the local businesses here, the larger businesses, for opportunities. So the AARP, the PEPCO, we're working with some of the downtown organizations in construction. So if you have a company and you're looking for opportunities, please join and contact us, because you give us the ability to say, yes, we do have these companies. We're working with, obviously, the District of Columbia on the grants for small businesses. And so they have a lot of grants and opportunities that we're trying to leverage to get into the hands of Black-owned businesses for development. Anika, you're talking about something in terms of developing an ownership. There's federal grants that we're trying to leverage to put in the hands of folks looking for those types of opportunities. Obviously, on a NAP, because we're a part of the U.S. Black Chamber, we're working with the administration on new programming coming out in this next fiscal year, and the funding for Black-owned businesses specifically to grow and scale around workforce development. We'll be working, partnering with workforce organizations to be able to underwrite and training, so we get people's jobs, and then you're able to support the training while they're being trained to support a percentage of their salaries.
Wow.
And so we want to look at the whole gamut of training, because Anika said something earlier, and Denise, you mentioned it, Black folks hire Black folks, right? And small businesses are able to give jobs. And so the more we're able to do it in the neighborhoods where they work and live, the more they're able to stay and thrive in those neighborhoods, which is important.
All right. Well, that's the good news. That's what we wanted to spread today. And to thank AARP for helping to bring this program to our viewers. Antwanye, before we go, we'd like to put up on the screen how people can reach out to the Greater Washington Black Chamber.
Yeah, so they go to www.gwbcc.org. That's www.gwbcc.org. Go to that. You can register for the website. And there's also a link on there for information that'll go to our folks, and we'll make sure we get back to you. Again, www.gwbcc.org.
Okay.
Yeah, Greater Washington Black Chamber of Commerce.
Okay. All right. We will correct that. And Anika, I have Desiree like trying to get on it. And Anika, give us the address of Nubian Heuman. Where are you located?
Yeah, so we're located at 1231 Good Hope Road in Southeast DC, inside the Anacostia Art Center.
1231 Good Hope Road, Southeast.
Yes.
All right. Okay. If they didn't get that, I don't know. But anyway, 1231 Good Hope, and www.gwbcc.org. Okay. All right. I just wanted to get that in before we go. I want to thank both of you all for being with us today. Have a great weekend. Stay safe, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All righty. Okie doke.
Where do you come to get